Welcome to Film News, where we talk about the latest in independent and quality cinema. This week I want to talk to you about two films you can watch on streaming now. One is honest but all over the place, the other is beautifully constructed but not as deep as it wants to be, and is being called the film of the year. Then a first look at two soon to be released films, the first a documentary from Russia and the other a unique film from Congo. Then we'll round out with a surprisingly hypnotic look at the world's most prolific background artist. Zero Fucks Given came out a few years ago, but I want to mention it here because it didn't get much in the way of festival recognition. The film stars Adele Exarchopoulos. She had her breakout role a few years ago in Blue is the Warmest Colour with Léa Seydoux. She hasn't had the massive success in English language movies Seydoux has had since, but she really should because she has charisma to spare. She had supporting roles in Sybil, which I mentioned in the last Film News, and Passages, which I mentioned a few weeks ago. But Zero Fucks Given is a perfect example of her ability as a character actor. There's no shortage of film and TV shows over the last few years about young women trying to figure out their lives. Many of these shows are great, but the characters have a comedic detachment from it all and tend to be from pretty well-off backgrounds. Zero Fucks Given is a convincing look at someone working in a customer service job with few prospects of doing much better. Exarchopoulos plays a woman, Cassandra, working for a fictional low-cost airline. The film really nails this, slapping on a smile to deal with abusive customers, selling tacky shit to people, and the grind of the same work routine on repeat for the rest of your life. She has a cringe Skype interview later in the film where the questions amount to, how good are you at taking shit from people with a smile on your face? Interspersed with this is a personal life of short, intense connections, which can never lead to anything deeper when work will always move you to the next place. And when Cassandra returns home, the film gives an accurate sense of returning to a family life which isn't really there anymore. And the sense of place is great, a kind of nondescript suburban life of cigarettes in the back garden and drinking too much in middle-of-the-road bars with friends who also work in middle-of-the-road jobs. This is a million miles from the France presented in Passages, where everyone is hip as fuck and working in some sort of arty job. The film was the debut feature by Julie Lecostre and Emmanuel Mayer, who both co-wrote and directed. From interviews with the directors, apart from Exarchopoulos, the cast are largely non-professional. They also shot with a tiny crew and amended the story as they shot. The improvisational nature is a strength in the first half of the film, but becomes a weakness in the second. The film loses focus and doesn't know how to close the story threads it opened. The standard docudrama handheld camera pointed at the semi-improv scenes yields what feels like honest moments, but can also feel like a crutch towards the end. It feels like we could have got where we're going faster if the film was a bit sure where it was going. I recommend checking out Zero Fucks Given. There's a lot to like, even if they could have made it all a bit tighter.
Who do you think they are to each other?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is a hard one.
With the year coming to an end, people are putting out their top film lists, and Past Lives is up there on several. Considering this is a debut feature, that's a pretty strong achievement. If you didn't see it in the cinema, now is the time to catch up on streaming. The film is about the multi-decade relationship between a woman, Nora, and a man, Hao Sung. This starts when they're kids and continues intermittently after Nora emigrates to Canada. It's the debut feature of a Canadian-Korean playwright called Celine Song, and was shot beautifully by Xavier Kuchner. Song had previously written for the Wheel of Time TV series, and Kuchner was best known for shooting Small Axe, the Steve McQueen directed TV show. To be honest, when I saw the trailer for this, it looked like a well-made film that felt closer to romantic fantasy than anything like real-life relationships. Having watched it, that is definitely the case, but I say that more as a description than as a criticism. Without going into any spoilers, as the relationship grows between Nora and Hao Sung over Zoom, from the script alone, the dialogue and their interaction are fairly generic. What really sells the feeling between them is the quality of the filmmaking. By that I mean the mood created by the music and the visuals. The film is by far at its strongest in the last half hour when Nora has to reconcile what could have been with what actually is. Some of the blocking here is absolutely top notch. Check out when Hao Sung comes to Nora's apartment. Also watch the scene in the bar. It's a fucking brilliant example of staging a scene where the actors never move from their seats. Don't know how much of this is Song and how much is Kuchner, but whatever, the result is great. Although I'm not sure I've ever seen two characters stare at each other for so long, so often in a film. Might have went a bit overboard on that. I might do a longer review of this later because it might not be the best film of the year, but it's a film worth talking about. Go see if you'd put this in your films of the year list and let me know. And I'll be waiting for whatever both Celine Song and Sabior Kuchner do next.
En fait, quand on était petit, les pasteurs disaient que sa tâche, c'était les sorciers qui voulaient lui enlever sa beauté. Zabolo, sors de son corps!
I love coming across a film completely randomly and thinking, that might actually be good. Omen is the debut feature by the Belgian artist Belogi. The story initially follows Kofi, a young man as he returns to Congo having lived in Belgium since he was a child. In tow he has his pregnant Belgian fiancée Alice. Kofi is nervous for the journey as his mother has intimated he's not welcome. When he was born he had a birthmark, which his mother thinks marks him as a sorcerer. Apart from following Kofi's journey, the film separates into vignettes, each following Kofi's sister, mother, and a young man Paco, who only has a tangential connection to the family. The first thing that hit me about the trailer is the eye-catching visual style Belogi has deployed along with DP Joachim Philippe. Indeed, that's what the reviews coming out of film festivals have largely complimented it on. The reviews have been less positive about cohesion of the narrative. Variety said, the film feels like a mixtape, a collage of samples organised by the director's eclectic taste. Sometimes I like films like that and sometimes I don't, but I am excited to see Omen. Along with the visual style, I'm interested to see the world of a village in Congo, a place that hasn't exactly been overburdened with representation on film. Omen has been picked up for distribution by Utopia in the US, but I haven't seen any release info yet. When it's out, I'll let you know. Jenna Marvin is a Russian artist. The documentary Queendom follows Jenna as she uses her art to stage radical public performances in Russia at a time that coincided with the start of the war in Ukraine. Jenna went to events like war protests dressed in her creations. The result was both legal and actual attacks. The film is directed by Agnieszka Galdanova, who was researching a reality series about drag queens in Russia when she met Jenna and decided to follow her. Jenna was only 21 at the time of filming. You've got to admire the talent it takes to make these costumes and the nerve to wear them to places where you know you'll be in danger. She apparently lost her parents at an early age and was raised by her grandparents. Apart from anything else, her actions put a severe strain on her relationship with her grandparents. I'm excited to see this. I've never been to Russia, so I don't pretend to know the politics, but I've never understood why people get not just worked up, but violently angry when someone chooses to look different. I can't imagine Jenna's actions are going to lead to massive change in themselves, but radical change starts at the fringes, and I'm all for someone prepared to risk it all on that fringe. The film had a very limited cinema release, but in the time it's taken my lazy ass to get this video up, it's been made available on streaming. I actually ended up watching this last night, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I spend a lot of time working as a crowd AD, which means setting the supporting artists, or background artists as I think you call them in the US. You tend to see the same people again and again, as a surprising number of them make an almost full-time job out of it. But none of them will come anywhere near Jill Golston, who appeared in almost 2,000 films. The documentary director Anthony Ng somehow went through a massive number of these films and found Jill's appearances in them. He collated them into a short film called Jill Uncredited. This is a weirdly hypnotic watch. If you have 20 minutes to spare, check it out. But don't do it if you're in a rush. Nothing explosive happens. It's the kind of film you'll need to relax into and experience the weirdness of this single woman popping up in the back of so many different moving images, like a kind of nondescript time traveller. Thanks for watching. Apologies I missed last week. I managed to go on holiday and get sick in the same week. But luckily I asked some locals if they had anything that would make me feel better, and they sorted me out with this locally made juice drink. It's totally natural, made from grapes apparently. They even recommend pregnant women drink it. I'm feeling pretty good already to be honest, so I'll see you next week.